Because you can't just go, oh, people were going on about Rangnick like he was some sort of good manager and actually he's just not. I mean, do your homework. The fact that you didn't know anything about Ralf Rangnick when he came in and you decided to think he wasn't very good shows your lack of knowledge. Ralf Rangnick is somebody that you should know about if you're a journalist in football. You should know about Ralf Rangnick. You should know about Erik ten Hag. You should know. It's your job as a journalist to know what's going on in the European football scene. Because if that manager then gets linked to Manchester United, what are you going to do? Well, all you get is, well, who watches Ajax? Well, is that not your job to understand that these people might come into the Premier League and it might be worthwhile having a look instead of going, no, it's just a Dutch League One. Like, Ralf Rangnick is quite accurately described as the architect of a certain style of football, which involves pressing, but also sort of a role model to people like Tuchel and Klopp and Nagelsmann and Hasenhüttl. So to dismiss Ralf Rangnick as some sort of shit coach, I mean, look, I don't think he's done particularly well at United, but to dismiss him as somebody who was a bad appointment and that anybody who was excited about it was a fool, it's just genius in hindsight, claptrap, basically. The reality is Ralf Rangnick excited a lot of people, including myself, because he's a builder of clubs, and this club needs building. And I, like many others, thought that Ralf Rangnick was going to come into this club, be given the freedom to help build it from top to bottom. And over the last 6 months, he would be able to bring some players in January and start building towards the summer for the new manager, and then we build from there. And that hasn't come to pass. So, and people are very critical about his assistant coach who came in from America. Well, that wouldn't have been the coach that he wanted anyway. So he's not had the tools. Of course, he's not had the tools. But I just have a real problem. My real problem with this, and I'll start with Rio. Rio came out and said something like, that Ralf Rangnick has been come out speaking publicly about the board not buying players in January, and that's not how Manchester United runs. We don't air our dirty laundry in public, and that he should be talking to the board about that, not the public. So that was something Rio Ferdinand said at the weekend, and again, some of you will disagree with it. Basically, Rio was saying that he didn't like the manager coming out and saying that he wanted players in January, and he named the players he wanted and the club didn't get them. He said that was something that United don't do. We don't air our dirty laundry in public, like I say, and it should be kept private and not for public. I completely disagree. And I also disagree with these journalists that say Rangnick is putting this stuff out to, basically be a fanboy for the fans by saying the things that the fans want to hear. First thing I would say in relation to that media and relation to Rio Ferdinand, who said that we shouldn't be airing our grievances in public, we should be keeping it private. Is that not what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did for 3 years? He swept it all under the carpet. He put a smile on his face every week. He didn't talk about tactics. He didn't talk about anything negative about the Glazers. When fans broke into Carrington, he was telling them, the Glazers are good people. So I completely disagree with Rio and the media. This is exactly what the fans want, and this is exactly what needs to happen. Revolution needs to happen. Reset needs to happen. All you do it. I mean, I don't know whether Rio wants a job with the Glazers or something like that. Maybe he does. Maybe he just doesn't like the fact that it's being spoken about publicly, which is his right and everybody else's right. And I'm sure there's people in the chat who agree with him. But to be honest with you, this is the worst Premier League season we've ever had. I'm actually grateful that Ralf Rangnick has spoken out about the board didn't buy players in January that he asked him to. I'm grateful that he has come out and said that, the players don't have the energy to play for Manchester United. I'm grateful that he's come out and spoken honestly about the issues at the club, because I tell you what, if we hadn't had that in the last 4 months and it had been kept in-house, like Rio had said, or the media think it should have been, where would we be? I actually think the way that Rangnick's dealt with it is something that the club should learn from, because we've had the worst season we've ever had, and I don't see that many. I don't see the things that maybe should have happened. I think the fact that we've been communicated with has made fans more empathetic to the situation that United face. I think if we'd done our normal job of Ollie just smiling there and saying, we're trying our best, we go again and all that crap, I think it's so important. And I think anybody that disagrees with it and says, no, it should have been kept in-house, that's not what Man United do. Well, look, it's very easy to keep problems in-house when you're winning titles and you're winning Champions Leagues. But when you're performing and putting in your worst ever Premier League points total in your history, you can't keep it in-house. Because it's our club. It's not the Glazers club. It's not the board's club. Most of these people don't support Manchester United. Most of these players don't support Manchester United. So I will stand up, and I think many other people will stand up as well, and say that actually I respect Rangnick more than I respect most people at Manchester United at the moment, because he's being honest. He's been honest and open. And what I actually want him to go a step further. I want him to come out and name the players. I do. I really do. I think it's time to come out and name the players. He's named the players he wanted to buy in January. He's pointed the finger at the board for not buying players. He said that it's been a really difficult season. There's no trust in these players anyway, so I'd love him to come out and start actually naming some of these players that are the problems, because it can't get any worse than losing 4-0 to Brighton, getting stuffed by Watford, getting stuffed by Liverpool twice this season. I'd just come out and name them. Let's have a clean break. I don't actually want to go into the summer not knowing who the problem players are. I think name the players, let them fuck off, and let's start again. I actually think we need a little bit more communication. I really do. We know Woodward's gone. We know Matt Judge has gone. We know some of the scouts have gone. We know they messed up in January. We know they wrote the season off in November. We know some players haven't tried. We know some players don't want to be here. Let's clear house. Let's clear house and start again, because I tell you what, I would rather be at the very bottom of a ladder we all want to climb than near the bottom of the ladder, but there's still some problems there. And I think what Rangnick's done is really good, and I think we need it to be. I want him now to come out and tell us the players really. We'll win against Man City or Brighton. If so, Man United will be finished. Jude, I'm very concerned that we might be in the Conference League. Slow Sports News says, Mark, if you remember the 80s like I do, we have been to hell and back. We can dismiss this season like it never happened and just refresh and reset, says Slow Sports News. But we can't. We can't just refresh and reset again, can we? If the problems of this season linger on. I think in the 80s there was problems, in the 70s there was problems, we were relegated, and I'm not going to pretend to remember what they were, because I was probably not even born for most of it. Those problems were probably not problems with players not playing for the badge. These were not multi-millionaire selfish people who don't really care about the club. We've got people like that at this club, and we need to clear those out, otherwise we'll never solve the problems. Once a snake, always a snake. Once a problem, always a problem. You know, they might all be smiley with Ten Hag in the summer, but after a few months when some of them aren't playing, they'll be back doing what they're doing again now. Ralph's tactics are terrible. The man literally said the players cannot play the way he wants because they're shit, says Daniel Kirk. And Ollie loved and protected United. He stood as a shield for the club. Ralph on the hand is here to destroy us and create a dystopia at our club, says Rash. Well, I tell you what, mate. I would swap Rangnick for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer every day of the week and Sunday, because Ollie protected the Glazers. Ollie was a shield to the Glazers. He never told the truth. He put a smile on his face and pretended everything was right. Who was Ollie looking out for? Was he looking out for the fans or was he looking out for the Glazers? I think he got lost in both. I think he wanted to look out for the fans because he's a United legend, but I think he also got trapped into this protecting the Woodward and the Glazers of this world. Ralf Rangnick is not a United legend. I don't know what his affection is to United fans. I think he's just an honest man who wants to do well at football, and therefore he'll call out the problems. And to be honest with you, it could be Ralf Rangnick, it could be Pep Guardiola, it could be Antonio Conte. The thing that frustrates me about the Ralf Rangnick criticism is it's not unique to Rangnick. It could be Conte, it could be Pep. If they came into this club, you can't sit there as a United fan, especially in our community. You can't sit there as a United fan and say, well, I don't like the way Rangnick's been going on about this club. I don't like it. When we've spent the last 3 or 4 years going, what a mess that club is from top to bottom. I mean, how many times have we heard on here or in the media? Gary Neville even said it. Gary Neville said it before Ollie was even appointed. That club is rotten from top to bottom. Right? So Ralf Rangnick comes out and as a manager and says it. Oh, no, you shouldn't be airing that in public. That should be kept private. So we can all say it as fans and pundits in the media, but the manager can't come out and say it. Well, I'm sorry, I think you're in the minority if you've got a problem with that. I absolutely love it. I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think he's taught this football club how to communicate with fans, and the club is terrible at it. And I think the only risk with it is that whether the club will react to it badly and kick him out this summer, which they may well do, because he has exposed the problems, and honesty is the way to do it. And the thing is as well, is you can like parts of Rangnick and dislike the other. Like, I love the fact that he's been so open in press conferences. I love the fact that he knows his football and has basically said that these players aren't good enough to play the way I want to play, so I'm stuck trying to get results with players that aren't good enough. I mean, he's basically said that week in, week out. I love all that, but I also accept that some of his selections and some of the results have been absolutely shit. Absolutely shit. But like, you know, I was listening to somebody the other day, and they were basically saying that his tactics have been a joke. They've been an absolute disgrace. This, that, and the other. Okay, fine, I can take that on board. But also, how do you? All right, bloody Bobby Robson. How are you going to get them? I'm calling the journalist Bobby Robson like they're a top class coach. How are you going to get this team to start not getting beat 4-0 by Brighton? How are you going to get this team not to get dominated by Chelsea at home? I, as I said yesterday, I wouldn't want to manage that team for the Crystal Palace game. I wouldn't have a clue what to do. And I've done coaching. I've never coached at the top level. I can't coach at the top level. But what I'm saying is, even if they said, you can do it, you know, we can do a vlog, it will do really well on YouTube, whatever, I'd say, no, I don't want to do it. Oh, but think about the publicity. I don't want to do it. Why don't you want to do it? Because what